Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. Welcome to the stream. So, I'm here at Paradox Trading Post. I'm Cory from Blitz Mini Studios, and today I'm going to be painting, like every other day. But we're going to be painting a few things that I really enjoyed today. We're going to be painting my own army for Infinity. Let's get in. I'll show you a few of the things I'm going to be painting today. We're going to start this nice Mark II Squallow for Pan-Oceania. And what I'm going to be showing today is kind of a little bit of how I batch paint. A orc with a fillback. Orc with an HMG. We'll start with this guy because he is just primed. Then I'll kind of show you some of the other processes that I go through to get to these other points over here. We get a Kamau HMG with a, he's about halfway. And a Zulu Cobra with a Spitfire. And he is just primed as well. So, all right. Now, those of you that don't know, Infinity is definitely one of my favorite games. We have just recently started doing things for it at the shop. As of yesterday, I checked my Corvus Belly account. I am now officially a War Core for Infinity. Trying to get War Core status for Aristea. And we'll see about War Core when it comes out, but I'll be the liaison for the shop for, all of the Corvus Belly needs at the moment. So that we're getting started there. Getting us started with a slow grow league starting next week. So if you are interested, pop in the Infinity channel on our Discord and let me know. All right, I'll stop talking and we'll start painting. All right, so let's move some of this junkola out the way. Get these guys off to the side. Don't know what I'm doing exactly with the Zulu Cobra yet, so he may stay off to the side. I haven't done a Zulu Cobra yet, so just trying to figure out what I want to do with the scheme. Now these orcs, as you see, I've done quite a bit of these orcs, so I know exactly what I want for these guys. So we'll just go ahead and start with our base. Since I did do a heavy zenithal prime, as you can see, like there is some black areas here, but it's mostly pretty heavily white. So it makes the next step I'm about to do a lot easier. So I'm about to use some contrast paint over top. And just kind of, I also use this as a glaze in between my highlight layers and my mid-tone. So we're using Azurman Blue. Now this is pretty saturated and dark sometimes, so I will thin it out a little bit to kind of get where it's going to end up. It's like this shadow color here. Okay, so we'll use our handy dandy little pop palette. Now typically I want to be thinning this out with medium so it doesn't completely just get watery and, flow all over the place. But being a super prepared person that I am, we didn't bring the medium. We're using water sparingly just to thin this out a little bit. Have to be a little more careful with our application this time, but that's fine. So we're going to start here. So as you see here, most of this guy is going to be blue, except for these white pops right here. And he's going to have white pops on the bicep area. So we'll start flat areas. Now, these flat areas are something that contrast paint does not do well. That's why I'm kind of starting with these. I'm going to do very thin layers of this, letting it dry fully. Make sure we're not having any pooling whatsoever, because I basically want to tint the surface. I'm not using contrast paints as their intended use to just, you know, slop all over your miniature and then it's done. That's not how I paint. If that is how you paint, that's completely fine. You do whatever you feel necessary to get your army done. It's your army, your models. You do them how you want to do them. But that's just not my preferred method. This is going all a little darker than I want, so I'm going to thin this out a little bit more. Again, had I been a little more prepared, this would have been nicer, because I could have used the medium to thin this out without, you know, making it watery. Goes back to being prepared. I'm just not prepared. I'm usually a pretty prepared person, but you know, as they say, shit happens. Base area. Definitely want to get inside these little fins, because these fins are going to still end up being dark when I'm finished. And you see, I'm starting high at the raised areas here, and then I'm pulling the paint down, because it's going to be in a shadow to begin with. So it leaves this part lighter here, and the paint pools, if it pools at all. It's going to be pooling in this darker area where it's supposed to be dark anyway. So there's a semi-pro tip. I will never call myself a pro, but I'll take semi-pro. Now, once again, as I told you the last stream, I'm not going to show you anything that's going to blow you away or, you know, change your entire life in painting. You know, I'm mainly just here to chill out, you know, talk to a few peoples, and if I can show you something cool, that's cool with me. I would like to show you something. Speaking of which, if you would like to, you know, come and paint with me, that's a thing we can do. I always like painting with people. I will say I don't get a ton done when I'm talking to other people and painting, but it's kind of not about that. More about hanging out with people. There we go. Can you guys see that now? Perfect. A little bit better. See what's going on over here. This area here, I gotta be kind of careful, because this middle part here is white on this side, and the middle part here is white on this side. Now it's dark right now, but we're gonna go in with our mid-tone grays and build up a white to there. Make it look much more natural. Also, let me know if I'm missing anything here in the chat. My chat window just seems to be spinning at the moment. So, if you're saying something, I'm not ignoring you. I just can't see it yet. Now, one thing we'll say about these Infinity sculpts, man, they are super detailed, but they're not detailed in the way of what I would say like a GW model is, by just throwing a lot of skulls and rolls and like greeblies everywhere. They're just hyper crisp sculpts, and these take a lot more focus, in my opinion, to paint, because there's a lot of small, tiny detail, but not, where we're just throwing a lot of things on it. There's just a lot of crisp, smooth lines. And I realize that just, crisp, smooth lines is not a thing. Crisp, sharp lines is the word that I was looking for. That just, it's a testament to my smooth, crisp brain. Sometimes forgetting how the English language works. And that's fine, because, I'm old. That when you get old, things don't work as well. I am blessed to have, my motor functions, my hand, and see something that is in front of my face, my eyeballs, and don't have any shakiness in my hands. Very good for what I do. Now the rest of me, on the other hand, you just won't talk about that. Everything else is failing, but I got my arms, sort of. Real close. Real detailed in on some of these areas. Also, if you've ever played Infinity or seen any Infinity models, weird thing about all these models is they all have like the best sculpted butts I've ever seen on any model. I don't know why. It's very consistent across the line. They got good butts. If you're one of those weirdos that just wants to look at butts on your models all day, Infinity is the game for you. Shout out to Connor if he's watching. One day I should just tell Connor that, you know, I'm painting butts on stream. Get a viewer for life. Add one to the brushlet counter. Oh, there we go. Chat has popped up finally. Only took forever. Oh, so what I'm using right now is to answer Sando. I'm using Citadel's Azurman Blue contrast paint. Quite thinned down, so I'm not having a lot of. I really don't want this to be super dark because Pano Blue is not super dark. It's more this color. And we will get there when we start adding layers on top of it. We're going to be cutting like 50-50 with Pro Curl's Sky Blue to get our basic mid-tone color. And then we're going to go in with Sky Blue on top of that. And then we're going to mix Sky Blue 50-50 with Bold Titanium White from Pro Curl. And we're going to hit very few little areas with pure white. I'm actually going to show you some of my finished models so you can kind of see what the whole process is going to look like. There we go. All right, so you can see like the top areas here, I have some pretty stark contrast highlights. And as you see with these Infinity models, they are very edge heavy. So, you know, a lot of edge highlighting, a lot of like non-metallic metal work-ish over colored armor. It's kind of what I've done on this areas here, and to kind of show like your light reflection there and on this area here. And then we're just edge highlighting everything with bright edge highlights. But back to what we're actually painting right now. But that is the general consensus of what we're trying to look for. Nice. All right. All right. So back to our painting here. Now that I've finally gotten caught up with our chat. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. Yeah, my iPad has been a little wonky today for some reason connecting to the internet, so that has not been ideal. Plugging away at this guy until I get bored. No, this will trigger something in the chat about Devin saying plugging away at guys until I get bored, because that's what Devin's here for. Now, the question is, do I just leave this shoulder pad white? I mean, it doesn't match any of my other models, but it kind of looks dope. Figure that out later. We'll cross that hill when we have to get to it. You know, the very famous saying, cross that hill when you get to it. Just another day of Cory butchering, you know, well-established sayings. Do want to go with the white shoulder pad. I got to be very careful. And on this side here. And thin doodads are blue, so let's paint those blue. You kind of get the gist of how you see when I am using this contrast paint. Like, it is sort of going towards the cracks and crevice areas. Part of that is because I have it thinned down. I do kind of want it to flow a little bit because this is basically my shadow color that I'm establishing. Because there's a lot of highlighting on top of this. This is mainly establishing my shadows, but I paint it all over just so I can blend in the other colors later. If that makes any sense. Probably doesn't. Oh, and Devin, thanks for the gifted sub. Yeah, you know, somebody got that. That'd be me. Sub to my own channel. Thanks, Devin. You see our little orc here has his fist raised because he's fighting the power. And though, you know, Pano is the main power, but you know, whatever. I feel bad for Devin in the chat. You know, he's pretty sure he's sick of hearing about Infinity at this point. But guess what, buddy? You're gonna hear more. So, we've came to that time. Not to deciding about the shoulder pad. That's still another time. The time we came to is I'm tired of painting this blue, and it doesn't mean I'm tired of painting this model. I'm tired of painting this specific blue, so I'm just going to not paint that color anymore. We're going to move to another color. It is not allowing me to keep up with my friends. My chat just isn't loading on my iPad. No, it's being dumb. We don't like when it's being dumb. Any wheel. But We're gonna fight through that. And, try to stop this here real quick, and then we'll close it out and start this back open. Look at me creating great content, Mom. Your boy did it. Hey, here we go. We got it back. There's the chat. May have to occasionally stop and start again, so we'll see. Nando asked, what's the desired outcome of thinning the contrast paints? Do you thin with contrast medium, or you can do just other brands with contrast paints? Yes, so the desired outcome here is this Azurman blue that I'm using is actually pretty saturated and dark for what I really want. It's a little too dark for just the straight color, so I do thin it out with typically a medium. It doesn't have to be a contrast medium. Typically what I use is the Pro Acryl medium, the glaze and wash medium. It comes in a giant bottle, whereas your Citadel thing comes in a pot this big, and they're about the same price, which is insanity. Yeah, I'm trying to like thin out the color a little bit so it's not as intense, so I don't have to highlight as much on top of it. And so it's not that stark of a transition between I start doing my highlights. As you see here, like the darkest color here versus like the lightest color here. I mean, there will be additional highlights on top of this where I'm putting in the sky blue and the white on top of it. So I'm just trying to create a better gradient as far as starting from something that's super dark. Let's see here. So now what I will do is I won't have it as thinned out as much when I'm starting to create my transitions from sky blue. And then I'll use it as a glaze and just kind of work it down into the shadows. So I won't thin it out as much there. I have a lot of weird little painting techniques, but this is one of them. Not a thing I see a lot of people use is just mixing like your contrast paints with your actual acrylic paints. As long as you can control the viscosity of the paint itself, like all this can mix together. You'll see me do that quite a bit actually. Like on the pants here, what I'm going to be doing is I'm using snakebite leather, but I'm also mixing like a 50-50 mix with this off-white color and then mixing it on the color palette, just so like I'm still getting the same tone from both the paints, whereas I just do the contrast and then do a medium color, like a medium khaki color, and then going up to this, like it may shift in tone a little bit, whereas if I'm just going straight from the contrast paint to this with a gradient, like I know that I'm getting the same tones off of that. And yeah, you got Erica making a bunch of noise over there. That's fine. She's just throwing pots and pans around. I'm not even sure why there's pots and pans in here. All right, so I mentioned I was tired of painting this blue color, and I talked extensively about this blue color. So I'm going to paint a different blue color. I'm going to be doing the bases here. Yeah, Erica does find her way onto the stream every week. She's here a lot or something. Huh. It's crazy. It feels like at some point I just need to have painting class on stream with Erica. We get enough subs, maybe happen. All right. She didn't approve, but I don't care. Here we go. Oh, I'm gonna get you on stream painting with me. No, it's a great idea. Content, baby. All right, back to actually painting a thing. All right, so yeah, as you see, like this is my base color for my bases. So it's Payne's Gray from Pro Acryl. It's a bluish gray, so I'm trying to keep like the same hue here and same color values for my bases as I am there. So it's more gray, but it's blue gray. So it's the mother color, as we would call it in painting. I'm painting a base, painting a base. Now painting bases is so interesting. But here we go. That's what we're doing. You know, not every part of a model has to be interesting to paint. Sometimes you just gotta paint the bootstraps, man. Sometimes you just gotta paint the base. It looks good in the end, man. You gotta do it though. Can't skimp out on it. Somebody will notice. That somebody is me. I'll know when you didn't paint your base. I'll look at you. But I'm never disappointed in you as long as you're painting. All right, I know I missed something from Devin here. So if you could give this model a name, like its birth name, not what it's called. What would I call this man? You know what? This man is going to be Devin. He is going to be a prized piece in my army. He has a heavy machine gun. And, I watch you play orcs, and you just you spray fire everywhere. So this man, I will paint you like one of my French girls. Cool. You know, to actually paint Devin, I need a much larger brush than this. This ain't gonna cut it. It's gonna have to be that Citadel, you know, house paint brush over there. I may need a roller. But you know, I can't troll my top contributor too much. You know, I need you. In my life, Devin. More than you'll ever know. Erica's snorting over there. Something must have been funny. You know, speaking of, you know, diving into vats of paint, you know, I seen you paint your orcs where you literally flicked paint at them. And they were speckled with multi-different colors because you had to hit a 3-color minimum. And it made me die inside. I hated it. I hated it so much. But you know, now you pay me to paint your things. And that makes me much happier. And without mentioning anything, I swapped to another color because I was pretty much done with this color on this one base until it dries. And then I need to put another coat. So we're gonna switch to black. I'm using coal black from Pro Acryl. If you haven't noticed, Pro Acryl, I like them a lot. Tell Jason from Monument Hobbies, I really like Pro Acryl. Send me some things, like a shirt or a hat. But I'm spreading the good word of Pro Acryl here, because it's just the best. And I try to use the things that make my job easier, and Pro Acryl makes my job easier because it covers like crazy. 3-color minimum is a scam. I will agree. A lot of things that you know, our British overlords, you know, implement are a scam. But you know what? I'm not gonna talk about that. That's I try to stay positive. Try to stay positive about painting things, you know. So we just won't bring up GW as a company. Now their models are great. I love their models. Company maybe not as much. Just don't like a couple things they've done. A couple, I mean, about 12. But that's neither here nor there. I'm painting infinity. Sando, give me a minute here. We're going to talk about our Lord and Savior Bold Titanium White for a second. This is the best white I've ever used in my entire life. I've never seen any white cover the way this does, thin out the way this does, or just do anything in general the way this does. You know, Ricky Bobby would say, if you don't chew Big Red, fuck you. If you don't use Bold Titanium White, what the fuck are you doing? So, good on you. You found it. It's getting out there. All right. I swear to God, I actually paint things on this stream, so, you know. Yes, the opinions, you know, shown here on the stream are not necessarily reflecting the opinions of Paradox Trading Post. They're just one old man's ramblings, you know, about wargaming. And you know the saying about wargaming, you know. I'm not gonna tell you. You either know it or you don't. Sometimes I like just leaving people hanging, and they're like, what the fuck is this dude talking about? I'll swap the models. Now I'm just painting this. I'm just painting the base on this guy. This is the whole thing about batch painting, man. Like sometimes you just get bored painting a thing and paint another thing. Doesn't even matter what you're painting. It's like as long as some part of this thing is getting progressed, you're progressing a lot. Because the less you think about it, the more you get done. You know, that's a saying, right? I say a lot of sayings. Sometimes I tease sayings in here. Now you see I'm leaving this strip here unpainted because that's supposed to be metal, and then I completely just butchered it. That's fine. We can just go back on the metal color on top of it, and it never happened. But you've seen it happen, unfortunately. Because, you know, we're live here on Twitch every Tuesday from 11 to 1 p.m. at Paradox Trading Post on twitch.tv/Paradox Syndicate. Did I do it well? Did I shill? Did I shill right? Not enough. You got it. Will demands more shills. You know, Cory in real life is sometimes funny too. But, you know, we just gotta not be playing games. I get real serious when I play games. And everybody's like, what the fuck is wrong with that guy? I'm just concentrating, I swear to God. I don't hate you. I really don't. But my face does look like this. Concentrating. Gaming's hard. And if you haven't noticed yet, I mean, my brain's real smooth. So smooth. Speaking of smooth, look at the coverage of this paint. Beautiful. All right. Now that I've bounced around and, you know, kind of painted a lot of things, you know, we're gonna go, I should sign my bottles of Procryl and just put them in the cabinet. And look, this was painted. Cory used this paint on stream. He licked some of it off of his brush. What a historic moment. Wow. We were really there. Yeah, I can do that. I know sometimes I just get to painting and not thinking about, you know, how this is looking on camera because I'm not looking at it on camera itself. But turns out that's the whole reason you're here, so I probably should pay a little more attention to how fast I'm moving the model. I'm just so used to moving at a very breakneck pace when I paint, because when you commission paint for a living now, as I do, time is money. But we are painting my models here, but time is also money because I am also not making money at the moment. I'm painting my own models for funsies. All right, so we're gonna swap to this Squallows Mark II here. This is actually the model that got me into. This model looks fucking sick. So I'm actually gonna paint it now. All right. So I've got most of my mid-tones and shadow colors in here. I can always come back in later with a glaze of our Azurman blue into our deepest shadows, but we're not gonna do that right now. We're gonna start with highlights. Because highlights are fun. And highlights are what really pops out these Infinity miniatures because they have so many edges on these guys. We're just edging all day. And edging. But you know what? It looks cool. Yeah, our good old whip 12. We're just whip 12 across the board. We're not great at completing a mission, but you know what? We'll shoot you first. We're good at shooting. And yeah, you know what? That's rule of cool is something I tend to go by. Like I really like mechs and mech-related things. Before I started painting miniatures, I actually started out with Gundams, and I did Gundam model kits for several years, and learned a lot in the scale modeling world. But then I was like, I want to actually play a game with these things because I also like the game, and there's no rule set for that, so I had to find something else. Started with 40K. Did not enjoy 40K. It's not for me. It's for a lot of people. That's fine. But I was not a lot of people. I wanted something a lot smaller scale to begin with. I really prefer skirmish games. I started getting out of 40K and got into Marvel Crisis Protocol, which is one of my babies. I love Marvel Crisis Protocol. I'm actually going to the Dragonflight to play a MCP tournament on August 17th. I did find out that there will also be an Infinity tournament there. So I will be, you know, peeking in on that. So if anybody of you guys happen to be at the Infinity event, I will pop in and say hi. I am not putting a dick butt on this. You can go fuck yourself, Devin. Unless you want to buy another one of these, and then I can paint it and put a thick butt right here on this back plate. Yeah. Then, and only then. Yeah, we actually had a guy recently just to get into Hackaslam because he just likes the way they look, and they look awesome. And I'm actually playing him tonight. He has everything built, and we're gonna figure it out. So, as you see, I'm also using this insanely long hairbrush. This brush isn't anything special. It is literally from an all media pack from Royal and Langnickel from Walmart. I got it for Father's Day from my mother-in-law, and I was like, cool. And I was like, this brush has a really long tip on it. Bet this would be great for edge highlighting. The reason I say it's great for edge highlighting is I can put a lot of this tip in here, and when I edge highlight, you're gonna see most of the time that I'm not using the tip of the brush, I'm using the side of the brush here. And I'm finding the angle of the model that I can slowly drag this down using little stabbing motions until I am positive that I found the right angle. As long as you're getting the right angle here, it's perfect edge highlighting. Always be using the side of your brush and angling the model, not angling your painting hand when you're edge highlighting. And edge highlighting is a very important skill when painting Infinity models. And you'll see I'm also bracing my hand. So I'm holding it, I have my elbows on the table, holding it like this, and I have my pinky out and I'm braced by my other hand as well. So that way I can do swipes like this while I'm being contacted at all 4 points. Yeah, and again, the disclaimer, you know, what I say doesn't necessarily reflect the feelings of Paradox Trading Post. I have a feeling I'm going to be painting a GW model next week. To atone for my sins. Maybe a rats. Be another good bead painting project, or just batch painting in general. Yeah, my main thing when batch painting like this is, you know, you can be as efficient as possible by just going through every single model. It's like, I'm painting the boots, I'm painting the boots, I'm painting the boots. That just becomes super not fun very quickly, because you get tired of looking at boots, and you get tired of looking at the next thing you do, and then tired of the thing, and then you just don't want to do it anymore. So, you know, do what interests you at the moment, and then at some point, you're going to get close enough to finished on these models, and you see the finish line, and the finish line is what propels you forward. And at that point, you'd be like, okay, cool, I just got to paint these boots. I didn't want to paint at all. But you know what? Once I paint these stupid boots, the whole thing is done. And, we like done models. The feeling of, you know, getting something done is great. Oh, so you're going to the Dragonflight as well? I will see you there then. And yeah, I'm using mostly the side of my brush here when I'm edge highlighting. Just trying to get these angles. Sometimes I will use the tip, but it's so much more accurate to use the side of your brush and then angle the model. That way you get these crisp lines. Sometimes when you do it with the tip, like some parts will be fatter or some parts will be, you know, thinner than the others. When you have the model angled properly and you're just going along the same angle vector, you're getting a smooth straight line every time. And that would be sweet. We would love to have you here on Tuesdays. Yeah, sometimes the shaft is better than just the tip. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta use this big, long shaft. In this case, it's a big, long, thin shaft. No, Paradox has always treated me like family here. We love Paradox. One of us. One of us. Will do. See what these lines here. Highlight, I will finish talking about that point. Okay. But I'm not going all the way to the edge, like just trying to catch what the light would catch, which is just this forward point here, and then we're gonna start mixing in the white and the sky blue at the very tip right here, just to make it pop a little more. There's two parts here, and then two edge highlights at once. You just angle this model right. Bam. See, we kept that part dark right there, and we just edge highlighted it 2 and 1. Got a nice little twofer there. I have seen the Scape and Tide models, and they do look fantastic. So, you know, maybe, just maybe, somebody has some Scape and Tide models they want painted on stream. You could pay me to paint said Scape and Tide models, and then watch me paint them every Tuesday, live, twitch.tv/Paradox Syndicate. I mean, I won't paint rats every Tuesday, but that didn't fit with the... Sometimes you just gotta have, you know, sort of shills. You know, sometimes it's hard to segue shills. Alright, now I'm mixing in some white with the blue to get even lighter than sky blue. We're going to do our edge highlights over our edge highlights. But we're going to use this a lot more sparingly. Here. Wow, look at that. Very tip here, and very tip there, very tip there. Did go a little thick with that line there. It didn't have the model angled properly. Come back and fix that later. Now you see I'm also not going all the way with this because I still want to see some of my sky blue. At the very edges of these is where I'm going to be putting my sky blue and white mix. Pow. There we go. And when we have these edge highlights here, like this isn't always the end. I can always come back and glaze some darker colors in. Pow, 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 right there.
Started with a C, I knew that.
And we're going to. This is a little nerve-wracking right here because this is an important part. This is an important highlight. It's on the face. Really gotta concentrate on this guy here. There we go. There we go. We got it to where we want the highlights here, just the bottom of the eye sockets. And then we're going to do the top of the crown here. There we go. That looks good for now. We can always come back in later. Butts around with that because, you know, that's half of what miniature painting is. It's just, you know, getting your initial base coats on, getting your initial highlights and things, and then just kind of tweaking things as you see fit. Now you see with this part here, I want to highlight here. I'm going to turn the model upside down because my angle is better upside down. There we go. Cool. Let's keep painting. Now this is probably your most time-consuming part is these edge highlights because you just have to slow down, make sure you get these right. It can be a little difficult to fix. Not impossible. Nothing is impossible. But, difficult. See, like I just skipped out a little bit on that part there. I'm just come back in with my mid-tone. And this part back in a little bit. Not perfect, but you know. But this is an iterative process, so we will go through these multiple times, multiple passes. Always better to start small. build up than it is to start way too thick. Have to fix things later. Cool. Here we go. There's that part done. This little crown part here is a little difficult as the edges aren't as smooth as I would like them to be. There is a little bit of trouble with some of these like tags that that are made of the CO cast, where like the lines aren't as sharp as they are with the metal models. I know a lot of people shit on metal models, but like the lines and everything are so crisp on these. They're so good. It's part of the reason I really enjoy these models. It's just it makes edge highlighting so much easier.
Good. How are you? Everyone's already rebel now. Well, that was always my.
There we go. Having a nicely painted crotch piece there real quick. Now, as I'm sure you can tell, like, this thing is so many edge highlights. Now, edge highlighting is pretty taxing. It takes a lot of concentration. So you're going to get one of my patented swaps to something else. Cool. All right, we're going to go back to our first orc that we were painting here. This is Devin. We're painting Devin, the orc. You've never blanked a model. Yeah, I'm painting you. This one's for you, buddy. Yeah. I know. It's hard to eat on stream. I could, yeah. Yeah, just I could stop and eat. And then you guys would just watch me eat on stream. Such great content. But I'm going to not do that. I know as much as some people want to watch me eat on stream. I'm not going to do that. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm taking some of our less thinned down stuff and I'm trying to get into these crevices here. So I can just kind of dark line these without being a black wash or something. It's more concentrated. It's a little bit more controlled. Than a wash. Those washes tend to get everywhere, and then I don't want things everywhere. I want them very controlled, very crisp. That is kind of the whole aesthetic for this these Affinity models is just crisp. Now I do have this point here. It is not dark enough. So here we have good coverage here. Back in. See with this area here, I'm just putting more in the shadow here and it just starts creating our gradient. This is probably going to be the darkest part of our model, and then everything is going to be highlighted up a lot from there.
Artist is going to be a salt.
Oh no, I'm not doing the hot chip challenge. No, thank you.
Horrible bombard.
You know, I heard about what happened to the last person that did it on stream, and I don't like vomit. So vomit's bad. What the hell is that thing?
That's a rat.
Oh. So Will has just handed me a model here. So this is a terrifying thing. Assuming from Scape and Tide, right?
Yep.
Yeah. The rat ogre. It's got warp stone glowing out of him, and yeah. This is the one that has a rider? Oh, that's the other one. Okay. One thing I can say about GW is you guys do have great models. So no, there's my nice GW thing for the day. I have more. It's fine. Changed back to I have to keep making sure that I'm on camera here. Want to make this actually a decent video to watch playback wise, other than just bantering with the chat. Sometimes I just get, you know, just get in the zone, auto zone over here, and not pay attention. I feel like you should pay attention to your own stream. And now we're just going to switch to a completely different model, completely different color. We're going to start painting the belts, buckles, straps, as Connor looks at me lovingly. All right. So we'll start here. Start painting on a completely different model too. You know, like I said, do what interests you. Do what you're feeling in the moment. Listen to your heart. How much money are we talking here? Because Cory does like money. Don't necessarily like hot chip, but like money. So, I mean, I'm sure something could be arranged here. You know what? I need about 350. I need as much as the goddamn Loch Ness Monster. $350 would go a long way to helping me complete my shock army of Consummento. And all that stuff is out of print. All this stuff is very expensive. So your boy could use the monies. And I haven't gotten to the point of selling feet pics yet. Not yet. Any pouches? $20? You know what? That's a certain percent of our goal. There's certainly a percent. You know, OnlyFans is where we're going to release our painting tutorials. Not streams, but tutorials. Could I use Patreon? Absolutely. But you know, just want to be on OnlyFans. It's the same thing. But somehow, you know, OnlyFans just got inundated with porn. Who knows why? Anybody know why? If you do, drop it in the chat. I'm sure Andre does. If Andre is watching, this will be my test to see if Andre is watching. You know, it's really funny. I actually sent the link to our last stream to my mom, and she watched the entire VOD. I will not be sending her this one. For, you know, obvious reasons. No, Devin, you're not mom appropriate, but you make a lot of your mom jokes.
Yeah, that's all we really have to do for setup.
We're gonna paint some black. We're gonna paint it black. Paint it black. So, and by it, I mean this arm. Whee! Now, this is blue, this is blue, this is little strip right there. Bam! That's not blue, that's black. Get in there real quick. Get in there real good. Whee! Why do I do random sound effects while I'm painting? I don't know. I don't know why I do a lot of things I do. But, you know, here we are. And here you are. You know, it makes sense that I'm doing this. And I'm here. Why are you here? Why are you here? I really want to know. You know why Dev's here? Dev's here just to mock me. Yes, and mess with me. Yep, yeah, wow. I said it and then I looked at chat and you just said it. And you know what? That's fine. I can take it. I can also take your money and your subs. And it's weird. I hear my voice from another part of the room that is not this camera. I think Connor is watching the stream while playing a game. Super duper. But also, if I was Connor's opponent, I'd be like, the fuck are you doing? You are a delightful menace. No. I don't have any echolocation powers. I don't even know what to say to that. It's one of the few times I'm speechless. Are you saying I'm a dolphin? Or some sort of porpoise? If you like shaking noises, here you go. Shaking noises. I'm not even 100% positive if you even need to shake contrast paints. I mean, at least these like this. Like, because there's no like sediment to get into, it really settles to the bottom. Apothecary white, you definitely need it. Because there's a lot of pigment in there that settles on the bottom. But ones like this, I'm not sure. It's more like an ink. I do it anyway. Just out of habit. Get in the habit of things, you just kind of stick with them. Like licking my brush. That is a habit. Not a great habit. I really had to fight that a lot when I was painting with oil paints, and it have turned very dangerous very quickly. Luckily, it never happened. Realizing I am off camera again. Would help if I stayed on camera. Just edge here real quick. You know what, Connor? I've always told you to be yourself. You do you. You do whatever you feel like you need to, buddy. You're a lovely human being, and I love spending time with you. You're my favorite person that really likes anime girls and feet pics.
Imagine being a red player with
Speaking of feet pics, it won't be a part of the Patreon page, or the OnlyFans page for that matter. Hate to disappoint you, but just painting. And ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the part of the stream where I have no idea what I'm talking about. Whamp, whamp, whamp. Sometimes, I just start fading fast and, lose my Skibbity Ohio Riz. If there's anyone over the age of 12 that understands that, I feel bad for you. That's all I hear in my house every single day. My child just shouting "Skibbity toilet" at the top of his lungs. I don't know why. And I have no idea why they are so obsessed. Ohio. And the aforementioned Ohio boss.
I have 3. I know you're gonna. Or like, do you think it'll go from just learning a single spearhead events?
So I have found my issue of why I can't stay on camera. It's like I'm not up against the table edge. I'm normally painting up against the table edge, so it cuts off, a good couple inches. Well, it's fine. We adjust. Edging for real, no cap. This shit is bussin'. Alright. We have reached a point where we need to check. Alright, we're at 12:30. 30 more minutes, folks. I'm gonna look at the Zulu Cobra, just try to figure out what the heck I want to do with this guy. Because I haven't painted one of these yet. But I also want him to fit in the army, which is very important. So we're gonna wing it. Start our normal base coat here, as we did with Devon, the model. I'm perfectly fine going a little darker with this, because it's gonna be like a camo cloak thing. Go a little darker with this cloak and then go back with our normal color on everything but the cloak. So it's still in the same color family, still in the same range of color, but just darker. Store has just opened here about 30 minutes ago, and it is already bumping. Got some 40K matches going on. Got some Legion matches going on. It's never a dull moment here at Paradox. Always something going on. Well, I'm here. I am also going on. And on, and on, and on. Woof. You know, just reading that dev gave me the brain rot.
Inside the building.
Now, if you came here to read several middle-aged men that use Gen Alpha slang, you came to the right place. Who knew? I didn't know. I didn't know when I first started this stream that I was going to be doing this. But you know, we just try to be flexible and you know, just deal with whatever Devon just throws at us here. I find that's usually the best plan of action. Cool. It was a little sketchy trying to go back in after I just laid down that base coat there. Luckily it did dry. I would have definitely waited longer on that if I was paying a little closer of attention. Should be. Especially on these models. These are easily up if you aren't paying attention. Now, as you can see here, filled in all those areas, the dark areas, well. Didn't darken up the hex pattern too much. This is why I'm using like more fluid paint, like the contrast paints over a light area. It automatically does the darks for me and doesn't darken up the light areas too much. do know what color his gun is going to be. His gun's going to be black. So we can paint that black. That's easy. We're just making easy decisions right now. The hard decisions can come later towards the end. You're just getting some paint on this man, so it's not so daunting once I pick him back up. Because if you pick him back up and he's fully unpainted, you're a lot more likely to not start painting him, whereas he's almost half done. You just have to make a couple decisions and start putting paint on the model. It becomes far easier. Once again, I was painting off camera. Wonder how much of the stream I was painting off camera. It's probably a lot of it.
So you want to reroll too, because
Alright, big oopsie there. Got way too much paint on that brush, so I'm just brushing it around. It's fine. Everything is fine. No problems here.
I think that's like the best use for piston. If you have their token, I can put it over here for them.
Get them back if I recover.
All right. Scope is also black. So, because it's part of the gun, make easy decisions. I know. Sorry, Connor. We could have been matchy twins today. Didn't think about it. Didn't know you were going to be here. Should have known you were going to be here. I didn't. I didn't know I was going to be here. Wait, yeah, I did. Because I'm here every Tuesday. From 11 to 1. Live on Twitch TV. Dash Paradox Syndicate.
Or no, he just has marksman.
Now I have no idea what color any of this is going to be. We're going to put this model down until I look at some other references and until I find something I really kind of like that jives with my scheme here. So we're going to pick back up another model. Tell me how many times I've picked up a different model today, because I don't know. It's probably been a lot. I just keep moving around like a small number of models. It's usually around 7 to 8. This batch is slightly smaller, but I like to run around 7 to 8 models in my batches. That way I can feel things getting done, I can see things progressing in all of them, but I'm not really finishing anything until I get to a point where, like, okay, I want to get this model done, this model next, this model afterwards.
Oh, you do, yeah. I don't
Shoot these guys.
Lower facing areas. here that are not top facing edges. Center of the chest and the top of the chest here. Have this area is going to be lighter here. You're going to have highlights here and highlights in the middle towards here, and then highlights here. So it's kind of forms like a line on something cylindrical. That way it looks like the light is reflecting off of that one particular area. Looks a little bit more natural. It's kind of the starting building blocks of non-metallic metal and understanding non-metallic metal. All about understanding how light bounces off of objects. But that's a pretty advanced technique. It's not something I use a lot. I just beg, borrow, and steal from that technique rather than using the whole technique whole cloth. So we got most of our base color down there. We'll start doing some of the highlights that I was just mentioning on how to do. So might as well start doing those. Some stretches here. Yeah, that's good. All right. Also, if you're painting, I do recommend, you do stretch like at least every half hour, 20 minutes. Bottom edge. We're going to be angling the model, whereas instead of angling our brush, so we have more control. Is shrimping an alpha slang that I don't know about? There's so much. It hurts my brain so much to think about all the Gen Alpha slang. I hate all of it. Gotcha. Yeah, I tend to hunch over a lot, and it is not good on the old back. Model that brush. That line right there is always really difficult, and I know that line very much because I've painted so many Pan-Oceania models at this point. This one I'm going to want a little bit more fluid and not as thick, while still being able to control this, because we're going to start doing our highlights here, but I want them to be thin highlights. Blend in. So I'm going down to about this area, sort of a triangle, a face. There. this is kind of the money shot here on the money shot angle on Devon. Oh wait, no, Devon's the other one. This isn't Devon. But anyway, as you can see, we're starting to build the highlights here because we're getting our highlights towards the face and towards this angle. So there will be a lot of dramatic highlights on this knee here, this part of the shoulder, this a little less on the arm, but mainly we're looking at head, shoulders, and this knee because it's so prominently sticking out.
Actually get both their actions. Only going to do as you.
A little bit too heavy there. That's okay. Just wipe it away with your finger. Right.
They're going to move like
Right. Let's see here.
this.
Try to get this edge here. And like I said, we're going to try to do our 2-for-1 technique. We're going to angle this perfectly, and then boom, there's 2 highlights at once. And boom, 2 highlights at once. Able to do that because we have this long ass brush. You could do it with other brushes, but I mean, it's easier with this stupid long brush for some reason. And I'm going to try to angle this properly. Can't quite get a 2-fer on this one, but you know. That's fine. Not everything needs to be a hack. Not everything needs to be, oh, paint your model in 5 minutes with slap chop or whatever new keyword someone comes up with. Sometimes you just need to put in the work. Sometimes you need to put in time. And a lot of people don't talk about that. They're like, you know, try to get things done as fast as possible. Now, I do try to get things done fast, but I also want to maintain a certain quality of model. It's okay to paint slower than somebody. It's okay to paint faster. I mean, at the end of the day, they're your models. You're going to be painting the way you want them to be painted. But, you know, I don't know where I was going with that. Sometimes I just don't know where I'm going with things. That's fine. Sometimes when you talk long enough, you just kind of lose the plot. I don't know where you're going with things. So let's see here. I do want to start getting some metallics done here. So we're going to be using dark silver from Pro Acryl. Shocker, right? Cory using a Pro Acryl product. Right, so I'm using the poppy palette for this because I just don't want to thin out my metallics too much on the normal wet palette. Sometimes they just get all weird and goopy or weird and run out all over the place, and just you have zero control over them. You want a little bit of moisture, so you just use the moisture from your brush instead of a wet palette.
That was a very nice shot.
Making sure I'm still on camera here. Now I'm also trying to get in small tiny areas here. Clean those armor plates. Did get a little bit of mess here. Whoop, made an even bigger mess.
Everything over here is gone.
flooding this with water and kind of just pushing that back into the crevice there until it's completely gone. And look, this never happened. I never make a mistake. I never make mistakes. It's wrong. I make mistakes all the time. That's completely fine. Part of the reason, you know, I want to show you guys the painting process live on stream, you can see all the faults, you know. People always just see the end product of the paint job. They don't see all the mistakes, all the triumphs, tribulations, you know. There's a lot of that. You can't see all that from an Instagram post. You can see it when you're live on Twitch every Tuesday at 11 to 1 Pacific Standard Time at Paradox Training Post, though. At this point, I need a couple counters. I need a counter for, you know, the numbers of brush licking and the numbers of times I shill the stream. So, Devin, I just need you to drop everything and get on that. Okay, thanks. Hey, Vandermeer. I'd love to see you just dropping by on the stream here. Yeah, this guy's coming along pretty nice. He's about halfway done. Cue the Bon Jovi music. Trying to get angle to here, angle that brush, bam. There's a highlight, and there's the highlight. There you go. I came here for edge highlights and my shitty takes on GW products. You know, came to the right place. Yeah, if you are enjoying the stream, you know, make sure you hit the follow button. And if you're not, I don't care. Hit the follow button. Just you can just watch me and make fun of me. Your stream, your follow counts the same, whether you enjoy it or not. Even if you just want to join the stream to berate me verbally. Maybe don't do that. No. Never mind. Never mind. Kidding. I got Jake over there doing some compulsory movement. Just once the store opens, you know, I sometimes I have a hard time tuning things out. I pick up everything, every little thing, every people say around the shop, and I have a lot going on in my brain. That's fine. That's part of the reason I paint here. You know, I like the community. I like the aspect of, you know, painting with people around, even if they're, you know, necessarily interacting with me. But you guys in the chat are, so hey, what we like to see. Now this neutral gray color here, I'm going to be thinning down pretty heavily into kind of a wash consistency. A wash consistency that I can kind of control, because what we're going to be doing here is using our neutral gray as the shadow for our white. And we're getting in over the mid-tone and the highlights. That's fine. We just come back in with our bright neutral gray and later on white. Now my semi-pro tip for the day: when you're painting white, you're not actually painting things white. You're painting things in shades of gray. possibly 50. 50 is probably too many. Maybe like 5 or 3. But what we're doing here is just kind of going in here. There we go. This also lets us cover up some oopsies, because this paint covers so well. There we go. What do you know? That around a little bit there. Boop. There we go. Now this part right here is not supposed to be that color. I missed it. So we're gonna go back in. Yep, white is just shades of gray. You want to use actual white paint for the last about 5 to 10%. Then it will actually read as white. Because if you have just white, it's going to have like 0 depth to it. And we always want to have depth. Anytime we're painting anything at a scale like this, we are having to simulate light, simulate shadow at the smallest scale. Which means we need to do some unconventional things. Like for instance, what I'm gonna do right here. We're just gonna work on this little area here. We're gonna go neutral gray all over there. I'm gonna let that dry for a couple seconds. I'll blow on it a little. We're gonna take our bright neutral gray. This is gonna be most of our white color actually. So I'm gonna start building this up here. I have a little bit of shadow in that little block right there. And then we're gonna start building up this a little more. Take a little bit of white, put it into my bright neutral gray. Start going into these edge areas here, covering about 60 to 70% of what we just painted. Go back in this little area here. We overstepped that area just a little bit. That's fine. Put some black paint there, it never happened. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to come in with our actual pure white. And we're just going to do edge highlights. Put a little bit more moisture on the brush here. Sometimes this paint can glob up a little bit. White just has a way of doing that.
Activate the hostage unit.
And that is how we paint white with some depth to it. See, it's still majority gray, but it definitely reads as white. We'll put a little bounce shadow at the bottom here, or a bounce highlight at the bottom. Make it pop a little more, and then it still fits in our silhouette that we're trying to go for, whereas this is their front facing. We're also going to paint these guys. There we go. That worked out a lot better. Now, also with the bicep there, we'll start putting in our bright neutral. The perfect example here is of what you were talking about earlier. Is this is pure white. This is white, the way that we've painted it. This, it has like no depth to it whatsoever. It's just pure white. It's just gonna not make your miniature look three-dimensional. Whereas if you're putting in depth here and start with mostly grays up to white, just as your highlights, it reads a lot better. I am far from a pro. I am what I would consider semi-pro. Yeah, a semi-pro hobbyist. As, you know, has a job, but mostly just to hang out here. This knee part right here is going to have a little bit more white than I normally would because it's so far facing out. Which means it would catch more of the light. I just went back in and smoothed that out just a little bit more. Now, we're also going to end up painting these white. Now, these have a little bit more shadow in them, so we don't have to work as hard. We can kind of just build up instead of taking it back down and then building it up. Also, it would help if I painted where you could see the thing on camera. I just need someone behind me to slap me every time I'm not on camera. That seems like a good job for Erica to do since she's here. I would just ask Devin, but he's not here. Just in spirit. It is very easy to drift off the camera. Especially when I kind of just get in the zone of actually just painting and not thinking about what I'm doing and just whoop. I am way over here. I find it easier to actually just paint closer to your body. But at the angle I'm at right now, I'm kind of having a hunch over, which is not ideal, which, you know, we'll fix for future streams. But for right now, I'm feeling it. This is something we definitely should have checked ahead of time, but that's fine. Too far. I keep drifting off camera, it's fine. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's the other times we had it pulled all the way to the table. It made it a little easier, but it's fine. It is not a big deal at this point. I think I'm going to be with you guys for another... Oh, we are over time, actually. So probably going to paint for another 10 minutes here, and then we'll call it a stream for the day. And then we'll be back next Tuesday. It's 11 o'clock. Pacific Standard Time. Slowly just lazily glazed up these areas and, you know, building in some shadows. Not every part of painting has to be stressful. Nor should it. Painting is supposed to be relaxing. I mean, sometimes when you're up against a deadline, you know, it's a little stressful. But it's the deadlines that's more the stress than the actual painting. At least for me. I don't want to, you know, speak for everyone. I know we have a couple people in the chat that painting is very stressful to them. It doesn't have to be.
That's probably good. I just killed.
Now I highlighted this area here, so he's kind of has his face turned down. So what I'm gonna do is put a little more shadow towards the end down here. And this area here doesn't have nearly enough shadow, so we're gonna put some more.
I'm like, why are the Tauntauns dancing?
Why are the Tauntauns dancing? No one knows. I don't know.
How's that white cover do suppression?
Sometimes when you're in a shop and you're streaming, you just hear a lot of weird random things. Like, there's something about a tauntaun dancing at this point. I don't know why. I'm busy. I'm busy painting.
You know what? Maybe we're getting time on exactly right. But I actually just do blow the fucking ball.
All right.
They definitely deserve all the gunfire that goes their way.
Shooting at them relentlessly.
Versus Rebel versus Rebel versus Rebel.
I love it there for sure.
All right, Editor Will. I think we're getting in about to that time.
I mean, not Mandalore proper, but there's a village. The face mod, 2 red. Yeah, but that's not shooter 1, so.
We can highlight this a little bit, just so we can see some progress going on here. Besides shadow.
Preferably
play Jen and
Crafting day.
Mother courage, seriously.
Okay.
Good. Are those the Infinity?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. This is stuff I have painted for my army. There's some finished stuff right there. You mind bringing her over here real quick? Yeah, because last week I was painting a sorcerer from Conquest on stream, and I was wanting to show you guys the finished product before I left today. And here she is. She was really fun to paint. Really like the dark reds with the gold, and of course one of my favorite colors to paint, teal. It turned out really well. Pretty happy with it. Erica's happy with it, and it's painted for Erica, so it really matters what Erica thinks.
Have 6 white dice.
I know some commission painters, they just get the product done and hand it off to their customer. I really care about, my customers' happiness. I try to make everybody happy as much as possible.
let the beans roll first. So Sabrina takes this.
Yeah, I'm liking how this is turning out so far. So the Squalos really what got me into Infinity. I really love this model, just how I looked and everything. But the second thing that really got me in was these orcs. And then that kind of really cemented what faction I wanted to play. Like, I really do believe in the rule of cool, and like if you don't like what you're looking at, you're never really gonna connect with your army. Like, these guys just look so sick to me.
Probably very likely is. Do you think so? We have light covers, that's why shots go through.
I agree with that, Shep. Like, the Squalos Mark II, just, yeah, I mean, it's like one of the quintessential tags, I feel. As far as the look of Infinity, like it's about as Infinity as Infinity can Infinity. It's Infinity to Infinity.
Activation I love is the tauntauns. There's that one.
He's gonna aim in that standby.
Those tauntauns. Well, then you probably have a squad that can do it.
Yeah, the Guija is really cool too. I actually just painted a Guija really recently too. He's actually sitting the cabinet at the shop at the moment. So if you want to take a look at that Ouija that I painted, he's there. I'm pretty happy with him. He's not mine, but you know, he was for a customer, and the customer was pretty happy with it, so that's what matters to me. But then I, you know, asked him, like, hey, this looks really cool, can I put this in the cabinet for a minute? And luckily they said yes.
Fires could definitely stop the pass. Sometimes I'm down to one activation, but I think it's like 3.
You know, white banner has been a thing I've been looking at too. But I'm really thinking about doing, what is the mix between the two on the smaller high mount? That's not white banner, that's trying to think. Have a hard time remembering what it is. White Company, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I've been thinking about White Company. Just so I have an excuse to buy some Yuching models without, you know, going whole hog in a Yuching. I definitely have all of the smaller Jaime units, because the smaller Jaime is one of the things I really liked the look of. As you see, I'm doing micro highlights here. Oop. That went bad. Quickly wipe that away while we can. It never happened. Never make a mistake. You've never seen it.
So here is this dice pool. They did do at least one false.
These little bitty highlights really punch up the color, punch up contrast a lot. I don't know if it's reading on camera, but that really punches things up. Tips of these things. Very crown of the helmet. And do a side edge highlight on those. And very tips. And as you see that these white highlight or off-white blue highlights are thinner than my first pass with our just blue. So we have a little bit of dimension of color. But my back is starting to hurt me, and I'm very hungry. So I think I'm gonna take leave of you guys, and I will be back next week. If you have any suggestions of what you would like me to paint next week, or what you'd like to see on the stream, let me know, or let us know in the Discord, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.